Hello, hello. Happy Sunday and welcome back to the UpSet podcast. We're so happy that you tuned in this evening and we are so excited about tonight's show. When I say we, you know who I'm talking about. I'm talking about the most joyous crew in all the land.
The Brady Bunch.
All right, there we go.
Hello, everyone.
Ho, ho, ho.
I love it. I love it, Tally. It fits you perfectly.
We know you are, but what are we?
Well played, sir. Well played.
Yeah,
well played.
We're off to a fun start with this conversation.
Well, Tosh, you look mighty beautiful there with all of your festivity behind you.
Oh, well, thank you. Thank you. You know, they say it's the most wonderful time of the year. And
It really is.
Yes.
dress accordingly.
nothing like festive hedonism.
Festive paganism.
Yeah. We're gonna get it. We're gonna get into all of that. But first of all, how was it? How was everyone's week? What was kind of sticking out for you? What was happening? I know, Tally, you were telling us about World AIDS Day.
AIDS Day. Yeah, December the 1st is World AIDS Day, and we've come a long way from a time. You know, before there was a pandemic, there was a pandemic.
That's right.
But during that time, wreathed in ignorance and steeped in prejudice, we had decided that the pandemic was a deserved curse for certain people. We've grown since that time now, and we recognize that people aren't dying from the disease, but living with it. And those who were planning for the funeral of Magic Johnson, many of them have had their own, and we realize that we can fight this. And so we're continuing the good fight against HIV/AIDS.
Yes. Is that kind of what you share? I know you said you spoke for that, right?
Yes. There's a group called Philadelphia Fight, which is one of the leading groups advocating for people who are living with and challenged by HIV/AIDS and other diseases. And I remember when they got started about 30 years ago, they were having pancake dinners just to print posters. Now they have 5 clinics in the city and help people with housing and doing a great work. And
that's nice.
Yeah, it really is. It was a great gathering down at the Doubletree Hotel downtown in Philly. And I was really honored to be able to provide their keynote on December the 1st, on Thursday.
Don't forget to tithe on that check.
Remind the pastor. Remind him.
No, that's great.
The thing that really got me a bit upset about this unionizing situation with the railway workers. Well, they're already unionized, but the topic of just trying to get sick pay.
Yeah, that was.
You know, I cannot believe if that they're proposing, you know, well, you just have to look the story up because it's really quite complex, and from the political end and from the union end. But basically it boils down to people just wanting to be treated decently.
Wow. Yeah.
You know, and I cannot imagine having a job where you don't have any sick leave.
Have mercy.
And if you are sick, you are on your own. You don't come in, you don't get paid. You know, so if you're sick for a week, you lose a week's pay. And how can an industry, a multi-billion-dollar industry, allow their workers to be in a situation like that? So I wanted to ask you on this because I know you've done a lot of you know, work with the city and work with municipal workers and all of that. I mean, where do you fall on this whole thing with the railway workers and what they're trying to fight for?
You know, it's one person once said, I was executive director of the Commission on Human Relations, and a part of our job was to adjudicate cases where people felt they weren't being treated fairly at work.
Wow.
And one of the things that was often said is that the only thing worse than unions are no unions. I mean, and people do need to have fair wages and fair compensation. And I did not know that it was something that was that onerous. I don't understand.
The main thing.
I don't understand that one at all. And the Biden administration is in a bit of trouble because the Democrats are supposed to be you know, for the common man and for the workers and for unions, and to enforce upon them something.
And it's headline news now because of Christmas.
Yeah,
really because of Christmas.
Well, and I thought also, well, because of the issue, the railroads going down, that's going to mess up the economy extremely. So they were kind of in a bad situation, but they also proposed them getting at least 7 days of sick leave. So that was what the Democrats was doing to try and compensate this very complex situation.
Not sure if that's going to go through, though.
It's going to be interesting. This is going to be.
So I don't know if folks have been keeping an eye on what's been happening since 2020. So we had the era of the Great Resignation. We had the era of quiet quitting. And now we have the era of loud layoffs. So industries like, you know, Twitter, Meta, Amazon, Salesforce, Lyft, DoorDash, people are getting, you know, let go left and right.
Wow.
And coldly. I mean, I've read several articles of people waking up and they turn on their computers and their computers are locked down. Their company phones have been disconnected. And then they get a little note saying, basically, sorry.
Yeah. So it's the era of loud layoffs.
While the leaders have made millions and billions of dollars this past year too.
Yeah. And it's tough because this is a holiday season.
Yeah.
And you know, this is the worst time to bring these kind of things up, you know, and laying people off. But
the world is changing. I mean, for example, like DoorDash and Amazon and all, for 2.5 years, people stayed inside and ordered everything. And now, for example, we had the prayer breakfast on Thursday because, you know, the Thursday, a couple of days ago, we had that prayer breakfast because for the first time, and people realized they hadn't seen each other for over 2 years. And now that the world is changing and people are living differently and they're not shopping on Amazon because they want to go out and put on their Christmas hat and all of their Christmas finery, like Tasha.
I knew you were going.
You know, you don't need DoorDash and Amazon anymore, and so the world is changing.
But you know, Tally, speaking of shopping, you know, a lot of people are wanting to get out and get to the malls. We have a mall near us here in Pottstown. It's in Coventry, technically. It's called the Coventry Mall. They've even taken the name down. I walked through there recently.
It's a ghost town.
I would say about 90% of the stores are closed.
Wow.
Yeah, it's really only the ones on the periphery.
Right.
The stores.
And the big anchor stores, but all the smaller shops gone. And, you know, Coventry was a small competing mall. But during the holidays, I mean, a lot of people flocked there. I mean, you know, you had all the Christmas decorations and all the vendors had their specials out. And if you were to go there today, you would think it's like a ghost town. Yeah.
It's the commandment, you know, thou shalt not Coventry.
But people talk about brick and mortar versus digital. But in a hybrid world, how should the brick and mortar camp adjust in this new world? Like, talk to our churches briefly for 2 moments. Any advice for churches?
I think it becomes more of an experience that has to be created. I mean, people have to have a reason to leave home. And if we focus more on those things that connect us, activities that bring people together, people are always going to crave that. As much as we do things online and have forums like this where we're together, we're not really together. There's something about presence. And if we can market ourselves in a way where when you come together and we're together, you're going to have something you won't get at home. I think that's the selling point. That's the part that's going to draw people back out. That's me. That's mine.
Well, we're together right now. Watch. I'm going to say, Pat, scratch my face and watch. There's his hand. Yeah.
Well, even us, when we're together live, I mean, the show is so much better. I mean, you know, we feel the chemistry naturally than being on the screen.
Yeah. Just can't be duplicated.
I think the whole thing is about fellowship. And I know we're talking about churches in this situation, but even for shopping, when you go out, even I think we were talking about Christmas, which we're going to talk about, but it's people's attitudes are different. They're more festive. They're more, you know, you're more get a conversation out of someone just being glad to be out. So, I mean, you know, over the past 2 years, we were on lockdown. Now, I think some of us would rather get COVID than to stay inside.
It's like worth the risk now, right? Yeah, and it'll pass in a few days. Let me just get out here and see.
Which takes us to China, which they're trying to let go some of the reins, and the people are now fighting against it. So we hope everything goes well in China. It's almost civil war-ish type, in order not to be confined or set up like in concentration camps. So
yeah. Wow. Well, I just want to I don't know if end with a shout out to Hakeem Jeffries from New York, being the first Black male, right, minority leader of the House of Reps. He's actually the first Black to lead any part of Congress. So we just want to throw a shout out to our brother there.
Good point.
Absolutely, good point there.
Yeah, that's amazing. I hope that trend continues. Before we move on, there was one story I was going to throw in there. I don't know if you guys have heard about the Jerry Jones situation, the owner. And I was just listening to the radio the other day when it came up, and so I decided to look up the story about this picture that surfaced of him at this was this anti-integration rally or something at a high school, and I guess the part that really still was LeBron James being interviewed, and you know, and all this other stuff was going on with Kyrie, right? People were asking them all what they thought, but with this whole situation, no one was asking him anything. He's like, "Hey, don't you want to ask me about this Jerry Jones situation?" Just kind of bringing out the hypocrisy that happens in sports when there's a Black person where something is said or done, it's heightened in the media. But if it's, a white affluent person, someone with a status like Jerry Jones, it's kind of hush hush. Nobody's really talking about it. But I just thought it was interesting, because they're saying, oh, he was just 14, but still it's very telling.
It is telling.
Yeah. You see that it's all over Facebook. He was just 14, and so was Emmett Till.
Yeah, that's right. I saw that.
Wow. I didn't see that.
Yeah. So it just makes you stay woke, when you see these things and not fall for the okie doke in certain situations.
And as a Philadelphia Eagles fan, it gives you another reason to despise the Dallas Cowboys. And there's
GP left. Like the show is over. It's over.
He's not gonna see us till Christmas. He's gone.
Well, speaking of Christmas,
starting to look a lot like.
I know, right?
Like, it got cold too.
Wait a minute, Pat. Is my gift behind you?
Yes, it's coming. It's coming. I'm gonna drop it off.
One for each of us.
And it should be noted that they're all virtual.
No brick and mortar. Well, there's only 4 there. That's in that's over here. Okay, I'm mirrored. It's only 4 here. Let's see.
I see a couple
so
of
one person is left out.
Oh, sorry, Tosh.
6. In the corner. Yeah. I want to beg for a gift. But that's funny. We should be saying that because that's part of what we're going to be talking about as we dive into this topic of Christmas. I mean, we try to cover different aspects of it every year. We've talked about, whether Christians should really celebrate Christmas, and, what are some of the traditions that aren't really based in anything godly, or
should a church have a Christmas tree?
Yes,
in the sanctuary,
right? Yep. And so we kind of wanted to I don't want to say talk about it a little bit more practically, but there is a lot of frenzy that goes on with Christmas that even we as Christians can get caught up in, and in January, to our dismay, we realized that we've done ourselves a disservice, whether it's, overspending, overextending ourselves with different activities and different things. But I do think that there is something that can be appreciated and done well when it comes to Christmas. And we kind of want to talk about all of those things. So from one extreme to the other, in terms of where do we go wrong as we're celebrating Christmas and getting caught up in the season, and what are some of the things we do right or can improve on so that we're really enjoying it the way we as Christians should. So let's start with since we mentioned the gift giving. I was reading.
Tasha, before you go there to gift giving, I think, I was thinking about this from, I zoomed out, and I think that society at large, globally,
here comes Chuck, y'all. Here he comes.
Is just, they just want to be happy for a change. They just want to celebrate. They want to, even if they don't have any money, they just, because of the lockdowns and all that's going on around the world with the war and all, I mean, people just want to break.
Yep.
Can we just, sing songs and maybe go out and do some ice skating? I just think in general, people are just tired of being in drudgery at the moment.
Yeah.
So now you can go.
No, that's a good backdrop, which is why Christmas is so attractive. I mean, we have to recognize that, even people who aren't normally nice during the year, we see a different side.
Absolutely.
Right. Tally is very,
bah, humbug.
But I wanted to start with gift giving. One, because we said we wanted to have this show a little earlier in the month because we wanted to get to everybody before you spend all your money. Because I think that is one area where we go wrong when it comes to Christmas. So many people go into debt simply trying to, make sure their Christmas lists are up to par, that every child has the best thing. I was listening to a podcast the other day where, they're talking about how their kids go to school and everybody's saying, oh, look at this. I got these new Jordans. I got this new outfit. And they feel like they have to help their child, compete or be able to do the same thing when they go to school. And it's like, at some point you just have to stop yourself and say, this isn't important. And I have to teach my child that lesson, as opposed to trying to make sure they're not teased when they go back to school and don't have any, new Christmas. So, but I wanted to ask you guys, just to start this off, when you think about gift giving, how do you kind of, keep yourself restrained, or what are some of the practices you have in place to make sure you don't go off the rails?
Well, my bank helps me. When I present the card, and you can hear the card laughing when it leaves my wallet.
Or start coughing, Tally. Your cards.
You better put that thing down and get her a nice card. Yeah, but
I think some part of our psyche has to satisfy some measure of guilt. Oh, let me get something because I haven't done this, haven't done that, and give a little gift to make up and that sort of thing. I think part of that fuels our frenzy.
To carry.
You'll go you'll go out to the store with the intention of buying one or two gifts. I know this has happened to me many years ago, especially when you have children. You say, oh, I'm just going to get them one gift each. Well, that ends up being 6 gifts, because you walk by the aisle and you go, oh, isn't that cute? Oh, they would love that. Oh, and it's cha-ching, cha-ching, cha-ching.
While the Christmas music is blasting in your ear at the store, right? You're just feeling good.
Well, you know what? I'm sorry. Go ahead, Tosh.
No, go ahead.
What moves me is just to make someone happy. So in my family, we've never been ones to go out and spend a lot of money, for Christmas. We will give a nice gift that we think, someone would need or appreciate, till we got the boys. When we got the boys, some of my family members were spending. I was like, I'm not spending that much money, because I was from the old school, but so it's never been a thing, even if we would do a little Pollyanna. It's not like, $100 and all of that, but you just take and you buy someone something that's really nice. And I remember teaching my boys when they were little how to bless someone who didn't have. I remember I worked in a outpatient clinic at the time, and one of my patients was widowed and he lived alone. And we were talking about Christmas, and he said he was going to be all alone, that his daughter lived out of town. And then he started, he seemed a little saddened, right? And so I contacted him and I asked him, could I come by? And he said yes, because he lived right near the clinic. And I took my boys, I explained to them how to really make people happy, you know, for the holidays, to bless someone who does not have, or, you know, who was alone. So I gave them some money to make them think it was theirs. And then I said, now I want you to use your money to buy someone a gift. And so I think they bought him t-shirts or something like that. But when we went to this gentleman's house, he was full of tears. He just couldn't believe it. He was just crying, you know, at the house. And we stayed and visited him for a little bit. And we got to the car and I asked the boys, how do you feel? He said, we feel good. That was so nice, you know. So when you give to people, you know, you get a wonderful feeling yourself, especially when it changes someone's life.
Absolutely. I love that. I love that. You know, I was looking at the statistics that say that, you know, during the holiday season, which we learned starts November the 1st of every year to December the 31st, they consider it the holiday season. We will spend as a country $942 billion. And of course, we're noting that this is during inflation and all of the other loud layoffs and everything else going on. We still find this way to spend or get money from somewhere.
That number, but was that last year's number?
No, this is what this is projection for this year.
Oh, it projected. Okay.
That will be spent. And I mean, half that time is already gone because Black Friday has passed, which is one of the biggest spending times, as well as Cyber
Monday.
Cyber Monday. Yeah. And they'll come up with a few more. You know?
Well, I think they were even extending Black Friday, right?
Black Friday, Cyber Monday, Giving Tuesday.
Yes.
You know,
right.
Small Business Saturday.
Small Business Saturday. Yeah. Small Business Saturday.
True. Because people are in the spirit. Yeah.
I mean, people, even if they don't have what they need, they're going to find a way to get what they want. I mean, we will go into debt. We will do whatever we want to do, whatever we got to do to get what we want. So, and then at the end, we find out it really doesn't fill the void that was there. So,
and our
no matter how much you get, if you're not
content, unless you do something good for someone, you'll
never be content.
Go ahead. I'm sorry, GP. I'm sorry.
No, I'm just saying, if you're not content with what you have, you'll never be content.
That's right.
Yeah.
Another thing is that coming down to the end of the year, 25th, it makes you feel as though something is ending, and you have hope in a new beginning. But that doesn't translate with money. You understand what I'm saying? In our minds, it translates like, oh, when January comes around, I can do this. Or when January comes around, this is what will happen. When we really should be thinking about what is it that we're spending on, and how far can that smile really take you? So I think even in our family, it used to be toys. All of our immediate family, niece and nephews, we're all 2 years down. So like Jordan, 28, 26, 20. So imagine when they were younger, they always buy twos, and we already knew what they were going to get from before. Even if we had to come together as a family and put money together to see what they're going to get. Now that they're older, I think a good dinner.
Or pay a bill or something,
or help them pay their bills or something like that. We'll come across.
And you know, there's always that agony of, did I miss someone? You know, I got all these gifts. You know, did I miss, you know, a relative or a friend or whatever? And you know, that can be pretty stressful.
But Chuck, what about when people become older? You know, when you were younger, you may always make sure the kids had. And so if you're my nephew and now you're grown and you have little children, the children get the gift. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah.
They get one.
You got to shave. That's why you got to shave that plate after a while, because.
Right.
Well, when you get,
you know,
go ahead,
Telly.
No, that's okay. Go ahead.
No, you go.
Definitely.
Are we going to be like those two squirrels?
Indubitably. But no, but when you get older, you know, really, there's not, the things that you need typically exceed what people can buy. I mean,
right.
You know, what do you need for Christmas? A kidney. You can't buy me one of those. I mean, and so, you know, you really don't. Like my mom said, she told us one year, don't buy me anything else. I got it's just junk. I don't need any more stuff. So you know, you begin to realize it really is the thought that counts when you get older.
Right.
That's right.
Well, also, you know, there is this stigma about gift cards. You know, sometimes people say, "Oh, you couldn't think of anything to get me, huh? So you got me a $50 gift card." You know, but I'll tell you what, gift cards will be amazingly welcome now.
Especially gas.
Absolutely.
Oh yeah.
Well, you know, Charles, you mentioned that gift cards is actually the number 2 gift that 45% will give gift cards.
I think they're horrible.
You do think they're horrible?
They're horrible because basically you're giving me money but telling me where to spend it.
Not necessarily. You can
well, there are some gift cards you could spend.
Visa, American Express.
You could spend anywhere.
Give me the money. If you, I mean, if the
idea you want to order online, Tally, it's easier because you can put the card number in.
Tally, hold on a second. Let me hold on. No, I refuse to believe what Tally is saying. Tally, I give you a gift card. If I give you a gift card to Target,
right?
Accept it. And go shop.
I didn't say I wouldn't accept it.
Now Pat's worried about that gift card he bought from Target.
Hold on, Tally.
I mean, I'm not saying I wouldn't accept it. It's just that everybody knows that the gift cards are a racket for the company.
Okay.
You know, because they know that most people are not going to spend all of the gift card, and some people will lose the gift card completely.
Yeah.
Companies make billions of dollars on these gift cards.
That's true.
I like artwork. I mean, portraits of like Ben Franklin and
Marlena. Write this down.
Ben Franklin, and Green, you know, and Hamilton.
Jackson. Oh, that was
a lot of dead presidents, you know. No, but I'm only kidding. It's just that I think a gift card is just a racket for the companies.
But you know, and it's true. You can forget that you have a gift card because you know a lot of times you don't spend it quickly. He's like, "Oh my goodness, I found a gift card," and it's been like 6 months.
I never seem to have that problem, but
well, I don't shop as
scratch that
readily,
off real quick. Hold on.
And you know the real racket with gift cards, they know that if you get a $50 gift card, you're going to spend $39 or $43 and never spend the other $7.
Right.
Man, I spend it to the last little
Me too.
bit.
So then they know that $50 is going to turn out to be $60.
Yep.
Because you won't have enough, so you put more of your money to it. So you're forced to spend money in a place where I didn't intend to go. Give me the cash.
And then there are some people that get a $50 gift card. They spend $45 of it, and they know what they have left, so they hop over to Subway, get a sandwich.
Yep. And I write down my balance, Chuck, on my card.
This is really good, y'all. Keep going.
I could buy. I could go to Chipotle, and then
who among us is that punctilious that we're going to write down?
It's like you said, Tally. I'm not giving away any money. I'm going to use my $4.
Use it. Yeah. So if gift cards is number 2, what do you guys think is number 1?
Number 1 gift?
Yeah, that people give.
Money.
No.
Oh.
What?
Is it shoes, clothes?
Clothes or accessories. 55% of gifts are either clothes and accessories. So
socks and ties.
Lord.
And then toys is number 3 as we could.
Wow.
Toys number 3. And food and candy is number no. Books and or media is number 4, but candy and food falls under there. So that tells you a lot about.
I've always wanted to be. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Electronics. Where is that? Electronics.
Yeah, that should be up there.
Because I thought that would be high.
24%.
No, 24%.
At number 7. It's number 7. Okay, above that is personal care or beauty items. So you're kind of seeing where people's values, or what they perceive people's value. Food is above electronics.
So this is how I know I was born in the wrong group of people. I want to be a part of those families where you don't, when you get a gift, you have to look outside and there's a big bow on a car.
Yeah,
that's
right.
I've never been in one of those
commercials.
Yeah, only on the commercial.
How come I never had any of that in my family? I remember
did you see the commercial? Did you see that commercial where this family was coming to visit, and I think it was the father who had a brand new car, a nice car, and they were driving up, and the wind was blowing.
Yes.
Ribbon
and the ribbon that was on the house fell on the car. And so they thought that the car was a gift.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you.
He's like, oh, you got this for me. I wonder what you got for your mom. I love that.
Yeah, right.
You see, we've lost the real meaning of just being a blessing to someone. I don't know if you remember looking at Little House on the Prairie, right? When you were younger and Christmas time came, and it would be something that someone made or, you know, a simple thing that they bought from the store, and they were like, oh, for me. They were so excited.
Yeah.
Try that with your kids today, see if that works, right?
There weren't enough Negroes in those houses on that prairie, so I didn't watch it. You know,
but you know,
have you ever bought a gift for someone and they didn't like it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I think, and you're able to give them the gift a receipt back that doesn't have the price on it, but they can go and exchange it.
That's why you see all those happy people after the holidays at the table when you first walk in the store. You're like the return table, right?
Yep.
Oh, they're just so joyful.
We used to make stuff. I remember making my dad a helicopter for Christmas. Out of Tally, don't Tally. I see it coming. I just see it.
Your dad loved that helicopter, didn't
no,
he?
he didn't.
He kept it on the top of his desk for a long time. It just was something that rolled up. But I mean,
his dad said, for Christmas, my son gave me a helicopter. I said, what did he give you the rest of the year? He said, just the first syllable of that.
You asked for it and you got it. But
okay, guys, I'm gone. Have a good one.
But gift giving, a lot of us, you know, the origin, we think about, you know, when Christ was born and the three wise men brought him gifts, and we kind of use that as our gift giving is, you know, of a spiritual nature.
Golly day, did you really want to do that?
And I'm telling you, I'm not saying
I
that.
want to mute my mic. Go ahead, brother.
Yeah. See you guys. I'm gonna sit back.
You know, I mean, you know, Tasha brings us to a point, you know, where, you know, Christmas is based upon the story of the nativity, which all of it is pretty much a lie. All of it. I mean, the wise men did not give gifts at the point of nativity. It was 2 years later. You know, Jesus was not denied access to a hotel room. I mean, all of those things are lies. And
explain that, Tally, so the people will know what you're saying.
Putting on the play next week.
So what really happened?
Yeah, you know, the rest of the story.
Yeah,
I mean, in Luke chapter 2, one of the, you know, for example, I remember when they first excavated Bethlehem, they came up with some things that challenged the traditional story, which was that Mary and Joseph got there and they had no place to sleep. You know, and you get this idea of the cruel innkeeper who says, I wouldn't have any room for you. Go over there and sleep with the animals. Mm-hmm. The fact of the matter is that Bethlehem didn't have any hotels. It was a small town and didn't have any hotels. And first of all, nobody would go to their hometown in those days and stay at a hotel because it would be considered cruel. You would stay with your family. And if you look at the text, it says that while they were there, she gave birth. In other words, they were already in the town. The word used for "in" there is one of the most unfortunate translations of a text. It is the Greek word kataluma, which means guest room. And so the real picture of the text is that there were other family members staying at the house where Mary and Joseph were staying. And because there were so many people staying there was no room in the guest room. So they gave them the accessory room where sometimes they would store their goods and even bring their animals in from the cold, for the sake of privacy. So they weren't turned away from a hotel. They were staying with family. And then it came time for her to be delivered. And so they gave her privacy. And she had the baby there. The shepherds came because they were alerted by the star. The child grew up. 2 years later, the wise men came because they were led by Herod. And so none of the story, as we see it, lends itself to the Christmas.
Well, Reverend
Tally, I choose to believe in a lie.
What is your Reverend Tally? What is your source for this story?
Luke chapter 2.
People want to know.
Right. And your commentary of the past, because people will want to know.
The word, Luke chapter 2 says, and Joseph went up from Galilee, from the city of Nazareth to Judea, to the city of David, which is called Bethlehem, because he was of the house and lineage of David, to be enrolled with Mary, his betrothed, who was his wife. And while they were there, not when they arrived, while they were there, the time came for her to be delivered. While they were there. The word used for, there was no room in the inn, the word used is kataluma. There's another word used for inn that you can find later on, and that is where the Good Samaritan takes the wounded where the wounded Samaritan, rather, the Good Samaritan takes the wounded traveler to an inn. The word for inn that is used there is pandikian. It's a completely different word. But the word used here for Mary and Joseph is used again by Jesus when he tells his disciples, go into Jerusalem and there you'll find a upper room, kataluma. The same word is used later on and has nothing to do with a hotel. It's just an unfortunate translation.
I didn't mean to fact check you, but I just did. And you're right. It's a small chamber. It's a small room outside of another room. Yeah. So, I get it, Tally. And now that you have ruined my Christmas.
Every play that we
that's why I'm here.
No, spiritual Grinch.
But now I want to see Tally's version. I don't know about you guys. I mean, it's not Tally's version, but you know what I mean? Now that we're hearing this version, it makes me say, it's time to rewrite some of our plays, our reenactments.
Well, I mean, we like the story of Jesus being turned away by a mean innkeeper, especially Black people, because we've known oppression and rejection, and so we identify with it.
Yeah.
So we like that story. It's just not true in this case. And we lay upon scriptures and tradition all of our own needs, and I get that, but we need to. When you start off with lies, you're going to end up with traditions that don't necessarily serve you well in the end. And so we spend a lot of money trying to pretend that we're the three wise men. Incidentally, there were not three; there were a bunch of them. But we say three because it was gold, frankincense, and myrrh. So we figure each one of them had one in their pocket, But these wise men, who were astrologers, incidentally, coming from Persia, the story is rich, right? If we just let it be rich, but we lay on it all of our own stuff,
Yeah.
So there's more beauty in it, though, Tally.
Yes.
It's instead of it being a downtrodden type story, it also shows that the timing from Isaiah is right. The timing comes out no matter where it happens. Jesus was born at the time when they said he was going to be born, or that they prophesied when he was going to be born. So for me, it's more of a reason for the season, if you will. I mean, y'all don't start singing. Don't start singing. I think it's more a reason for it. Even though I hear your side, Tally, and honestly, I did check behind and see how it was. It's true. We knew that, but not of that. I like the room side of it. Instead of it being in an inn or a hotel. Yeah, it does.
It does make sense.
It does.
Makes me want to go back and read it again, Tally. So thank you for always challenging.
Maybe we can encourage
Christian again.
Some young creatives to come up with their version of it.
Yeah.
Like we came up with our version for The Wizard of Oz.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So we can modernize it, and
Now the flip side, though, and this is the part that churches are challenged by. And
here we go, guys. Here we go.
The flip side is, so if that isn't really the story, then how did we get the traditions based on and what we have to acknowledge?
Why are we telling the old story?
Yeah, we have to acknowledge. Chuck made a point earlier that people just want to be happy.
Yep.
Yeah.
The darkest time of the year is December the 20s.
That's right.
That's when we get to the winter solstice, when the days are the shortest. People needed something to lift them out of the doldrums. And so they created a festival based on the invincible day of the sun, when the sun finally began to win against the darkness and the days began to grow longer again, right around December the 25th. And that day was celebrated by heathens all around the world. The the invincible day of the sun. And so as such, when the church began to try to get people to come in, they said, well, look, we'll bring some of the traditions with you. And they had that celebration, and they would light the candles to show that light was being born in the world again. And they would bring globes of light in the form of great shining spheres, and and they would resurrect trees to show that foliage was coming back, and they would bring some of that into their houses.
Come on,
and they would play
look
music.
at you see that
celebrate.
in the houses that are decked out with all the lights and all.
They would deck the halls with boughs of holly, and they would follow and so I mean, these things were based on real seasonal celebrations that were steeped in the thinking of the time, which we would now call paganism. And these things were baptized and brought into the faith, and the names were changed to protect the innocent. Instead of the invincible day of the sun, it was the birth of the SON, and that's how we got what we got. You know?
So with that being said, because facts are facts.
Yeah.
Are we wrong for celebrating Christmas the way that we do? What I'm saying is, even though it was introduced for one reason, because how we always like to take things and make it for ourselves, or give it a spiritual tone.
The word wrong implies moral turpitude.
Right.
I don't think we're wrong because we're not worshiping the sun.
Right. Okay.
And we're not worshiping Tammuz or any of these other deities, pagan deities associated with it. So we're not wrong, but we need to recognize that neither are we right, and that it is tradition, and we should do things based on the reality of the thing we're doing. For example, we don't have to. The darkness is not victorious over us because we banished the night without incandescence. I think that will preach somewhere. But we need to recognize, for example, when we string up lights, basically it's pretty that we do it because it's pretty. And look, the Maslow's hierarchy of needs, everybody says that they were 5, but they're actually 9. And one of the hierarchy of needs is the one that speaks to our need for beauty, for aesthetics. We need beauty. Dogs don't go outside and look at their doghouse and say, if I put a back porch on that. But human beings have to improve things. We need beauty. So, that's what we do. We need beauty.
And I think it's important to point out, because this is where the children suffer in some homes. I want to be clear. And the Adventist home even talks about enjoying the seasons of the time, and the children could have a tree, right? You have a Christmas tree for the children so that they not feel, neglected. And I think that oftentimes us, if I'm speaking to our Adventist population and family, sometimes we, in trying to do what we think is totally right, we take everything, from the children, and then they grow up and they don't want to be a part of the church. It's too strict, is just too restrictive, And so for those who are listening, I want them to find a way to still celebrate, have a wonderful time. It's a time when families come together, enjoy. There's absolutely nothing wrong with sharing gifts. There's nothing even wrong with having a Christmas tree. As Pastor Tally has said, we're not celebrating the SUN, we're not worshiping the SUN. And so, remember the spirit of the season. It's a perfect time to witness. And what better witness is than giving, because Jesus gave a lot, on the earth. A lot was healing, but, his presence, he changed lives. And so if we could make that a part of what we do to bless someone and to change their lives, especially, and I'll say this real quickly. My church, we do a lot of outreach. And so a month ago, it was too cold to stand outside. So we just delivered to a community that, you know, was like public housing, right? And we went to the door of, I delivered to a door of a young woman. When she opened the door, I said, "We're the Willow Grove Church, and we just want to bless you today." She looked like she was on The Price is Right. Like she had just won, you know, so much, you know, money. And it gives you a joy when you can bless people. So I want us to remember, you know, that spirit at this time versus, oh, I'm taking away everything. It's nobody's getting everything, anything, right? It's paganistic. No one's getting anything. And the kids are sitting around, you know, looking like Charlie Brown children. So I just want us to remember that.
And that's why I asked that question, Marlene, because I know a lot of Adventists take this season as an opportunity to speak against the holiday more. It's almost like, you guys are too happy right now, you know. No, I mean, I really feel that they feel the need to post about it and tell everybody how what they're doing is wrong. And I can't believe you have a Christmas tree, and I can't believe you giving gifts. Exactly. They're just like Grinches. Like, why do we feel like we have to use these happy times to bring people down with judgment about the choices? I don't mind the education. Like, I appreciated what Tally shared today. I like, you know, knowing the truth. And that's the key, knowing why you're doing things, knowing the real origin of things. But that doesn't mean that we have to denounce everything related with Christmas as being pagan, and therefore we don't want to have anything to do with it. And if you're an Adventist and you celebrate it, you're going to hell. I mean, these are the kind of comments I see online. And I'm like, why do we feel like we have to?
Is that because they're unhappy? That's really what it is.
Well, I was about to say, sometimes we can, I think we lose our own joy.
Yeah.
You got to remember now, but theologically, you got to remember that we are a church that is built on correcting people from their traditions.
That's right.
You go to church on a day that was based on the recognition of the sun, and you are going to hell for that.
Right.
And that's why we're here to deter you. And while you're at it, that tree you got with them balls on it. I mean, so it is a continuation of our approach to.
I tell you what,
peace on earth,
my pet peeve is, and when I was pastoring, my pet peeve
many
was
years ago.
Yeah, it is now. There were people in church that decided that we can't do this at church. But when you see them online, they're at their Christmas parties, or they're at their family Christmas parties, or this, that, and the other, down to even pastors who talk about it. They're at their Christmas parties, right? So I have a problem. I also think it's a psychological thing. When you're not happy, you want to bring down everybody else. You know, you just want you don't like to see everybody joyful and happy. I'm not an Ellen G. White fan. Oh my gosh.
Fanatic.
Oh boy. Here come the letter.
You better be stoned, buddy. You better be fanatic.
Well, that's when I was pastoring statement.
Well,
that pastoring thing is going to come back a lot quicker now.
Well, guys, I mean, the numbers about to go up. Matter of fact, that's going to be a soundbite. No.
But that's not even who she was, Pat. Right, that's not even how she was. I think we
not at all.
Exaggerated what she has said.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is I love that she talked about youth, because you have to be able to talk to your youth about what Tally just said. That's the new thing. I mean, matter of fact, they probably already know. They're in the Google age. They can Google the whole thing and find everything. But the point is that we have to go back to the reason. You started off by talking about this, Marlena, before. If you could talk to your kids about when this season comes in, that it's a giving season more than it's a receiving season, then their life is going to be about that, right? So, and I don't want to hear about paganism, because everything we do has a paganistic sign. The cars we drive, it's on that.
The pews in our churches, right?
And the piano.
You know what?
Don't
I can't
forget
wait.
those preaching shoes.
Yeah, the preaching shoes is paganistic. The pews is paganistic. I understand. I understand. But I love Christmas. There was a time that something negative happened to me during Christmas, and all my Christmases was downtrodden. Then something great happened on Christmas. Now I refuse to allow the Christmas season to be negative. I just refuse it. So my thing is that it's like a drug for me. I love it, and I want it to take me to January, to February, to March, and just keep going. I love it. I mean,
let's hope no one takes that lifts what you just said out of the show and put it on Facebook.
It'll be.
Would you care to repeat?
It'll care to repeat it? Like, nah, let them go ahead and.
No, I got that. Christmas blunts for sale. Get up that. We'll hit you up. Your year-round Christmas high.
Hey, GP, I saw something that said, listen, I'm blunt because Jesus rolled me that way.
Oh, no.
That's a pretty good one. That's a pretty good one.
But I want to ask GP this. How old is baby Liz?
18 months.
Yeah.
Okay, so she went through a Christmas already.
She did.
That's right. She's been through a Christmas already.
She ain't getting it this year.
What you said?
Right?
Keep moving.
No, I really wanted to know.
I buy her stuff year round. I don't need to wait for a holiday. I buy her books.
Right.
I buy her things.
Good point.
So,
Yeah, but tell that to her grandmother, though, GP.
She can receive whatever she's gonna get, but it ain't coming from my pocket.
But and then wait till she gets older when she'll be around other kids that will talk about what they received. You know, listen, buying her stuff throughout the year, that's not gonna work for her. I mean, because the children change. They change.
Well, I think if your child realizes that through the year they're gifted a lot of things,
that's
just out of love,
they'll realize
they could stand up against that narrative at school and say, hey, you know, my dad, my mom don't wait till Christmas. I get great gifts all the time.
I don't know about our children doing that. That's not going to work.
Let me give you a testimony.
No, I'm saying it may not work, but there may be a child raised in a home that could easily say that and not be shamed about
it. And GP's kid more likely would say it and start singing in her bass voice. It could happen. I made one of the biggest mistakes that I've made in life. I'll never forget when my son wanted a PS. I think back then it was a PS2 or a PS3, and his friends were teasing him that he didn't have it.
Wow.
I went straight to Best Buy. Y'all didn't hear me.
Yeah,
I didn't cut no corners. Straight to Best Buy, used all my allowance money.
Right. $400.
Yeah. I remember it was $3 something. I went and bought it. And to be honest with you, he didn't want it. Was my problem. It wasn't his.
Right. That's
even when I dropped it and gave it, he was like, "Oh, look what I got." He was. I'm sitting here thinking, I need to take that bad boy back.
You make an excellent point, and it's happening right now.
It is.
There are people that are agonizing over getting a gift just for the sake of getting a gift, and then bragging about it.
Yep.
Right.
Yeah.
It has nothing to do with love or showing an expression of it. It has to do, and you know what? The vendors love it because they push it out in the advertising.
You better believe it. Transformers. What's those little dolls back in the day? Tickle Me Elmo was big.
And listen, as a parent, I look back and I said to myself, what was I thinking? But I stood in the Power Ranger line.
Come on, Chuck. Come on, Chuck.
Because I couldn't just get, the Blue Ranger. I had to get the White Ranger and the Red Ranger. And listen, I was at literally in line. Chuck. And folk are there trying to get, and then you get right up to the point of purchase and say, "Oh, I'm so sorry, we just sold the last Red Ranger." And I've been standing in this line for 35 minutes.
You didn't break out in
the Red Ranger, and now you tell me you don't have it.
Chuck, I just want to know the words. I just want to know the words you use. I know you're looking like Santa. Were you looking like Santa back then? Because they said you had gray all the way back then. Is it true?
No. No, I think I probably would have said, you know what? I ain't leaving this store. You're gonna make me a Red Ranger. You know what I'm saying? I take that White Ranger and
paint it
red. But it's almost like a hysteria, you know?
Yeah.
You know, and then parents get to talk to each other in the line. You know, oh, this is ridiculous. You know, I got to stay in the line to get the
Yep, they're still there. They're still in the line. Yep.
I heard one lady say, I don't care what Ranger they got. I'm going to get a Ranger and my child's going to be happy with it, okay?
There you go. There you go. That's
and it's for us. It's for us more than it is.
Yeah.
It's for them.
But it's also on us as parents to help guide their perception of gift giving and gift receiving. I mean, I know I have this conversations with my daughters. Like even this year, I told them, I said, listen, we're scaling back. Just write down 10 things.
10
these are options. 10 things. Because you're not going to necessarily get them all, but it gives people an opportunity to shop. Oh, maybe I'll get them this one, you know, for the family. And they were fine with it. They weren't like, oh, man.
They used to get more than 10. They used to get more than 10.
What I'm saying is they were just this exhaustive list. Yeah, there are 10 things to choose from because we have family members. So we share with the grandparents, the aunts, you know, so it's like, I wanted them to like think small, like, and really think about, and their list aren't like toys and stuff. It's things that they use on a daily, basis. So, and that's one of the things I encourage. They're not trendy, you know, they don't want the trendy things. They want the things that they see themselves using in 2023.
Oh, look at those angelic children.
They don't have a hat.
No.
They don't have a hat that lights up or anything like that. They don't have a hat that lights up.
No. Well, they might have one of these too. But no. So, what I'm saying is, I kind of shape the season for them. Like when it comes around, I'm telling them this is how we're thinking right now, so that there's no expectation and failed. You know,
see, that's the word. The word, the Buddhism teaches that the way to go through life is to
Buddhism now.
I was like, wait,
went from Christianity to
Buddhism. is to manage expectations.
Yes.
You know, I mean, Buddhism. You know, Nirvana is not the paradise. Nirvana is living without being driven by your desires.
Wow.
And I mean, David captures that by saying, the Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. In other words, I will not be driven by my desires. And so if we can learn how to manage our expectations, we wouldn't be captured and driven by this. I got to have that PlayStation, or I got to have, you know, that particular car or something like that.
You know, and there's also this psychology in wrapping the gifts. Has to be certain colors.
That's right.
Yeah.
And certain, you know, the bow or whatever with
God
the name
tags
on it.
Stick that thing in a bag. You know, put a bow on it.
I never heard Christmas, that, Chuck.
Many years ago, well, my oldest son Seth kind of proved the point. One Christmas, we were all together in the house. You know, he was married. You know, we had the kids there, and so he brought his gifts and put it under the table. I'm sorry, under the tree, and they were all wrapped in newspaper. And I'm like, you
unwrapped your gift.
I'll tell you, my son is very profound. I mean, the guy is deep, right?
Ukraine.
And I said, was that because you couldn't afford it? Paper? Did you need some wrapping paper? I mean, I had some extra, you know. But you know what that did to us psychologically? He kind of watched us as we were opening the gifts that were in newspaper. We were actually looking at the headlines. Yes. And, did that really happen? And I said to him, that was brilliant. No. That was brilliant. He put it all in newspaper. And then, have any of you gotten the gift, the big box? And you open it, and then there's another box. And you open it up, and there's another box. You ever,
Yeah, see, even that is the experience of the gift. Yeah, you know, you're creating an experience around it. And I think, go ahead, Pat.
I'm sorry, I'm probably jumping ahead.
Jump around. It's Christmas.
Jump around.
You know, I'm going to tell you what the Christmas gift is in this house this year. Our family has been splintered the kids, just the 5 of us. We're not talking about the whole family. And we just simply want to spend time together.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's it. I want, that is the biggest bow.
Amen. Yeah.
You know, that we want for all of us to be together. Now, be together at Disney World is a problem, but to be together.
Is that where you're going, Disney World?
Yeah. Yes.
We'll be in Florida. I don't know what's going to happen with the credit card. But
you know, now see, now Pat was giving. I mean, Pat had everybody thinking, "Wow, oh, isn't this wonderful?"
Yeah, I even heard the violins playing in the background.
Boy, gonna be undergirding the biggest capitalistic enterprise in America.
Let me start Disney. So our family is going to be together.
Wrap it, brother. Wrap it.
You know what?
At the kingdom of the rodents.
That thing about how families are spending together brings me to a suggestion I have.
Okay.
Was a popular Christmas story that NPR used to play every year. It's about 10 minutes long. It's by John Henry Faulkner. And it's a Christmas story about 2 families who spent Christmas together in a very unusual way. This was to have taken place in the South in the old days, you know, in the deep South. Folk were poor, didn't have a lot. But it's a story about how 2 families came together and celebrated Christmas. So I strongly recommend that you look up John Henry Faulk's Christmas Story. It was made popular on NPR. You could just Google also, you know, John Henry Faulk Christmas Story, NPR. It'll take you right to the story. You know, listen to that story. Sit down maybe with your kids or your family. Just listen to it. It is 10 minutes of warmth. That's all I can say. It's warmth. Because he talks about, you know, families getting together and where getting a gift was getting an orange, a piece of fruit.
Wow.
That was a gift. I mean, today we wouldn't think of that. We look at someone like they're crazy. Say, "Oh, here's your Christmas gift, you know, an orange with a bow on it." It's like, "Oh yeah, right, really? All right, show me the real gift." But the story just really leads you to think about what the real priorities are, and it really does boil down to family and relationships.
Yeah. And giving, I think, too, as we're looking at how we can, as Christians, make the most of this season. You know, Marlena, you gave some great examples of some of the things you individually and your church is doing to look for the needs of others instead of being so focused on what do I want for Christmas and what am I going to get. Look at what can I do to help somebody, paying more attention to your neighbors or people who are in need that you may not have noticed before, and being intentional about reaching out to, and not just during Christmas. I mean, sometimes it's heightened during Christmas, but, you know, on a regular basis, I think that's so important. And making Christmas more about the people and less about the presents, I think is really something that we want to stress and hope that our listeners and our viewers will agree with.
Yeah,
that's right.
And you know, psychologically, we shouldn't try to make gifts and gift giving a makeup or supplement for relationship dynamics that we should have been following all the year. You could only relieve guilt, but so much, you know, and for the sake of families coming together, you know, I don't know about you, but I know there are certain members of my family and we really don't get to see them or talk to them until those holidays.
Yeah, that's true.
And it also makes you think about, well, maybe I need to change that.
You heard what the newspaper said during at the nativity scene. 3 shepherds found dead, frozen to death, watching their sheep by night. Because if they had been out there during December 25th, that's what would have happened. That's why we know that Christ wasn't born.
Yeah, it was springtime, right?
Or like the story, Tally. I know you can buy into this, or anyone that's grown up in an urban area in North Philly. The kids used to say, "No, Santa ain't coming down here because if he brings reindeer, that boy bells are gonna be on somebody's table." You know, and Santa's going to have to take an Uber back to North Pole. This deer will be.
But you know, guys, as we wrap up, I think one of the things, even just from having this conversation and realizing, it's just enjoy the season. You know, enjoy it, embrace it for what it is. Take this joy. I mean, take
Gosh, are you the kind of person that would dress your family in the same way and then take a picture and send it around to people?
Look at that.
Moving
that's
right
nice,
along.
though. That's real nice.
I mean,
but
it really pushes it a bit. But when they dress the dog and the dog is there,
that's so cute.
Oh, that just makes
we love it.
That's that's worse than Metamucil. It just goes right through.
Dog is part of the family, though, Tally. So you can't.
Oh golly day!
He's not an animal lover, Tosh. If he
everybody dressed in little reindeer suits and.
You love it.
Oh yeah, I'm just overjoyed.
And then the other side of that is the moment when it becomes stressful, the moment when it becomes something that's giving you more of a headache than joy. That's when you probably need to reevaluate.
Back away from it some,
yeah.
And no one needs to stress over the fact that they don't have Christmas money.
Right.
They're trying to pay the mortgage or the rent or the car payment or whatever, and it's all right to say to your family, we don't have the money.
Yep.
We don't. We'll have Christmas, nice dinner, but the gifts, we just can't afford it.
Or we'll make gifts.
I think, or make gifts. Yeah. And you know what? Sometimes we sell our kids short. Sometimes these kids will understand.
They will.
If you explain it to them sincerely, they'll understand.
Yeah, it's when you don't and you just don't do anything and they're like, what's happening?
Right.
20 years from now, they'll be on Oprah behind the screen with their voice scrambled. The reason why I killed everybody is because I never had Christmas. I mean, they will not.
You know what?
That could be true. Oh my goodness, that could be true.
I think we need to have two types of music cued. All right. There's the strings, okay, and then there's the for Tally, because he will bring full circle.
That one made my chest.
But that is so true. How many people do things? Well, I never had a father. Well, my mom left me when I was young. And all the traumas happen when they're children. So
I never had a Christmas tree.
No, I'm sorry.
But don't let the holidays stress you out. Really.
Yeah, don't let them stress you out. We're here to give you permission to scale back. It's okay to scale back. It's okay to make Christmas what it needs to be for you and your family this year, and it's going to be all right. It's going to be all right.
Yeah, and if you have to get off social media, don't look at what other people are doing. Just put your phone away. Delete the app this holiday season and focus on you and your family. Because if you start comparing, then it'll be hard to be grateful.
But also, I want to add, live a life of giving. And if you teach your family to give, you will never be upset because it's about giving and not receiving. And we're saying scale back. I mean, every Christmas you can scale back. It doesn't have to be grand, just something to show love, enjoy your family, and be content with that.
Right.
Just be content with that.
Yeah.
Because when I was little, we only got 3 gifts, period. Anyway, it was just 3.
And
they weren't expensive.
Simple. I mean, I just get a few friends who play a game of darts, and I use as a target families that take pictures together with all of them wearing the same uniform with the dog.
GP, you think you can get Tally one of those sweaters? You think you can get Tally one of those sweaters, GP?
One thing my mother-in-law we spent our first or at least I've spent my first Christmas with them as my in-laws. They would set the table for dinner, and at each setting there was a small gift box. And that was your gift. It was next to your dinner plate, and novelty stuff, no big, but everybody at the table got a gift. Something to open.
Yes.
And it's not about how big it is or expensive it is or whatever. It was the fact that it was there and it was your gift, at the table with everyone else.
You matter. You care. Yeah, we care.
Little things.
Yep, that's the little things. All right, guys. Well, we've had a hearty discussion here. I'm sure we'll have many more. Can
we ask our audience to write us and tell us how they spent their Christmas?
Please. Yeah. I mean, of course, we'll see you in a few weeks, next week. But please share. We were talking about gifts. I kind of want to know from our audience how you all handle gift giving in your families. We'd love to see that, and how you celebrate Christmas, some of the traditions that you have. But and I just want to plug something that's coming up in 2023 with the UpSet podcast for our season 3, and that is, we haven't really come up with a name, but you guys have been very good about helping us come up with names. But we kind of want you to write letters to us, like maybe something that's upsetting you. You just need some quick advice that we can give you. The panel can kind of weigh in. And so if you have something
got a name.
You got a name.
Possible.
Okay.
Yeah. People's Digest.
But doesn't somebody already have that name?
So
no.
It's patented.
UpSet People's Digest.
Right.
UpSet People's Digest. No. Okay. So yeah, we just kind of want to use that as, being able, we don't get to cover everyone's topic in full extent. Some of you may be dealing with situations, and I mean, not that we're experts, but we do have opinions, and we like to point at each other. And so if you want to
UpSetters Digest.
UpSetters Digest.
Oh, I like that.
Okay. UpSetters Digest. There we go. Write us. We're trying to get some in the queue. So as we start season 3 in 2023, we can address some of the things, some situations, circumstances that you're in and need a little advice. We're here to help. We're here to serve. Right. And so email us at upset@aecsda.com.
And if someone wants to bless the UpSet podcast with a generous Christmas gift, how do they give? Do they have to go to Adventist Giving? Like,
small or great?
Look, we're like, we're not
Marlena.
Yeah, that's a good question.
Somebody's writing now in that one of those letters. My husband does not like us dressed up for Christmas. And the dog.
But we will be sharing, now that you mentioned that, GP, we'll be sharing one of the things UpSet, we've talked about it, I'm just throwing it out there because it holds us accountable, is we really want to be able to help our listeners or people within your circle who need assistance, whether it's with a bill or a situation that needs some intervention. And so that is something that we would like to do in season 3, be able to raise funds to help others who have upsetting situations that they're facing and need real practical ways of dealing with that. So look for more about that in the coming weeks as well, because, we're not just here to entertain. We
we never entertain. Just being us.
We are just edutainers. That's all.
Yeah,
there you go.
That was preaching shoes.
But no, guys, it's been real, and we've enjoyed the dialogue. We look forward to engaging with you on next Sunday, same time, same place. We'll see you next week, and in the meantime, lock down.
And the closer you get to the holidays, think no stress.
Yes.
No stress.
Somebody take a screenshot.
Got a few weeks yet.
I need this picture of Tally with his head on. I'm sorry, Charles.
Acme?
Well, hey, they were free.
Yeah, I got my screenshot. Okay. All right, guys. Well, have a great week, and we'll see you back here next Sunday. Be safe.
Blessed week, everyone.
Deuces, everybody.